Energy, 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 energy. Okay. Hello, Southern Africa, and welcome to the 9th episode of Bantu Born Western Raised. This is like an episode like no other for me. I am super, super excited. So my name is Lynn, and as always, I am not alone. Hey, Masuzio.
Hey, how are you doing, Lynn?
I'm great. I'm just dope today. I'm just so happy because of our guest. Like he's been like a long time friend of mine, and I'm so excited that he's on the show today. Hi, Thobo.
Hi, Lynn. Hi, Masuzio.
How you doing, Thobo?
I'm super excited. I'm great.
So glad that you can hop on this podcast with us. We've been planning this for weeks. Me and Thobo have kind of been talking back and forth about this. But before we hop onto the episode title and the segment, Thobo, I'll go introduce yourself, man. Like vibe your tribe a little bit. Tell us about yourself, who you are, what's your linkage to Southern Africa?
Like Lynn has already said, my name is Thobo. I'm from a small tribe. I don't want to call it a small tribe, but it's actually a small tribe called the BBWR tribe, right? And it actually stems from the Motswana tribe. I don't know if you guys have already broken down this Bantu migration down south, but I don't want to wax lyrical about it. But actually, the BBWR tribe actually stems from the Motswana clan, which actually migrated down south.
Okay, so great, thanks for that. So yeah, we've had a lot of Botswana on this podcast, but obviously me and Masuzio spend so much time in Botswana, so a lot of our guests are kind of reflective of where we've been and where we're from. So we're so thankful that you could hop onto this podcast with us. And the number one reason that I wanted to have Thobo on this podcast is because literally this is someone that I have grown up with. Like I knew him since he used to stalk me back in the hood when we were kids. But then, I saw him go from... Yes, really? I saw him go from teenager to man, and I see him on his hustle, I see him on his grind. So best believe this episode is dedicated to just talking about the come up. We're talking about the hustle, we're talking about the grind, we're talking about 9 to 5, the side hustle, making it work and bringing home the bacon. So my first question for you, Thobo, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be many things, actually. Yeah. Why do you sound surprised, Lynn?
The thing is, I'm not surprised because I know you so, I'm actually not surprised. You've always been a jack of all trades type of guy, I feel.
Hey, I've always been a weird guy.
That sums it up, actually.
There's actually one thing that I've always wanted to be growing up, and that is becoming my own employer.
Damn. So you've been wanting to boss up since you were a kid. You never saw yourself actually working for anybody else.
Listen, I used to sell you sweets. Well, what are you saying? Couldn't see the signs.
Well, actually, they were always there, weren't they? You always had you were always quick with it. You were always out there and pushing yourself. So let me ask you a question. So with what you wanted to be when you were younger and where you are now, have you made it? Is this the life you envisioned for yourselves? Is this where are you now in life?
I could say, I will say I haven't made it yet, but I'm still on the come up. I'm still young to say I've actually reached the point where I'd say comfortable with the types of businesses that I've started so far.
Okay, so
there's still a lot more that I have to offer before actually you can ask me that question and I can answer it.
Okay. Okay. I see. I like. So, Masuzio, what about you? Like, have you reached the plateau, or are we still growing? Is there growth in this?
No, I mean, well, the truck driver dream is dead, but unfortunately, so the thing is, like, at what point do you actually say that you've made it in life? I feel like that's a very difficult thing for one person to say, like, there's always that next level that you want to reach. There's always that next thing always that next point that you want to reach. Of course, I mean, some people, they may say that, no, you've reached the pinnacle, but I mean, I'm pretty sure if you ask people like maybe Bill Gates or like Jeff Bezos, they'll be like, no, but there's still that one other thing that I need to get, right? So, like, life is a perpetual... There's a perpetual need to reach to the next level and the next level and the next level. And once you start deciding that, you know what, I've peaked, I've plateaued, that's when you stop living. So for me, I've always seen that it's always a progression from one stage to another. So I wouldn't say like I've reached my end point, but I'm on my way there.
So Thobo, I want you to like tell us about your entrepreneurial journey. Like, I want you to tell us like the inspiration behind it. I want you to tell us like, why do you now wear the title of entrepreneurship, or how do you wear it?
I'd say this story began when I was young. I had the privilege of both worlds, I'd say. My dad was an entrepreneur. My grandfather was an entrepreneur. And my mom actually, my mom is a scholar, and she went the academic route, the 9-to-5 route. So growing up, I think I was blessed to get an angle of the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
So my entrepreneurial journey began when I think I was 11 years old. Right?
Okay.
And we used to have a tuck shop at home, and every day after I knock off from school, I'd be the one to mend the tuck shop and release the lady who was working there from morning until afternoon. So that's where I actually fell in love with the exchange of goods and services for the money. Fast forward to high school, I was your lollipop guy, your candy guy. I actually used to be in partnership with a close friend of yours, Lynn Moses.
The candy man.
Do you know where he got?
That's why they called him the candy man.
That's why they called him the candy man. Yeah, exactly. Wow. We had such a monopoly in high school that we would just reduce prices to very, very low. We'd sell a lollipop for like 50 pebe or 25 pebe when we saw a new competitor coming into the area, you know. We had that kind of monopoly, and you know that it escalated more and more until now, you know. Doing a bit of that, a bit of this and that, you know.
Okay, so Thobo, to date, how many businesses do you think you started at this point?
I've ventured into a couple of businesses. To date, I'd say which I can say have made an impact on the lives of other people. I'd say 4 businesses.
Oh wow, that's amazing. Actually, didn't know that.
Yes. I don't speak. You know me, Len. I don't speak a lot about myself.
Okay. So then, what is? So obviously you've had all these different kind of business ideas. So at what point do you actually commit to an idea? When does an idea become worthy enough for you to actually invest into it?
One thing I like about ideas is that it is actually seeing it come to life, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't know. Have you started anything yet, Lynn?
No, of course not. Why are you putting me on the spot?
I want to relate it to. I wanted to see if you can relate to this. Lynn, you used to be a maths geek at one point.
Wow.
Do you know the feeling you get when you solved a very hard maths question?
Oh my goodness, yes. I know that feeling very well. Mm-hmm.
That's the same feeling you get when an idea comes to life, when you thought about something, seeing a business that is actually running, coming to life. That the feeling is actually amazing. So I actually fall in love with the feeling of seeing an idea come to life. So if I do not have a passion in that certain area, I feel that's when I lose the, what's the word I'm looking for?
The drive for it?
The drive.
Yes, exactly. The drive for it. I know a lot of people who just venture into businesses because so and so is doing it, because that person did this. I'm not that kind of guy.
Okay, so I'm like, I'll just like to talk about in general, cause you already spoke about that your parent you came from two types of you came from a household where you had 2 types of parents, whereby you have 9 to 5, you had that entrepreneurship, you had all these basic ideas going around you when you were still young, and so but the question is you don't really find a lot of youth are 100% committed to the idea of going into business for themselves. In the same way, we just asked Lynn, and she's like, I have never ever tried to ever start a business on my own. The concept and the idea of starting a business tends to have this feel of this super very hard thing to do. And so we just want to ask you, okay, fine. From growing up and seeing it, I mean, what do you think that you had? What do you think that you had in comparison to maybe your peers that were that made you push for that entrepreneurship life? And do you think that there could be something that could be done so that you could get more people more interested in entrepreneurship, especially in the fact that, as we already know, if you're being paid 9 to 5, you're basically in business for one person. You only have one customer, and in that sense, the customer dictates your prices. But if you're in business for yourself, or you're a consumer, if you're in business for yourself, you can dictate your own prices and then get more money at the end of it. So the 9 to 5 versus entrepreneurship, what exactly can we do to encourage people to go into that entrepreneurship phase?
Good. Those are a couple of good questions, Masuzio. I'd begin by saying the benefit I had of having the best of both worlds, I'd say, is I got to see how my dad actually earned money by not going to work, but by having assets and organizations that actually brought money to him.
Yeah.
As opposed to my mom. She actually didn't work a 9 to 5. She worked at 9 to 9. We barely saw my mom, but I saw that this other life actually isn't I'd be interested in.
Yeah. So then how do we get to the point where we can encourage people to move, like to take the risks and to, push their own hustle and, all of that? How do you get to that point?
I'd say this. At a certain point, I study accounting, right? I'm still I am an accountant, but furthering my qualifications. At one point, right, for me to graduate as a certified chartered accountant, I need to have worked a certain number of hours under a qualified chartered accountant, right?
Yeah.
The issue there was that I wasn't interested really in working corporate. So I decided to look for a small organization where I can really bring value, right? So this is where now I bring in the issue of employment and entrepreneurship. So I actually go to this organization for we call it an attachment.
Yeah.
And then I work. They actually end up hiring me here. And then as I was employed by these guys, something actually sparked in my mind that actually I can start my own accounting firm and actually offer these services to these guys, because these guys, believe it or not, they don't want to lose me,
So wait. So basically, what you're saying is that you got there, you proved your worth, you showed your worth, and they wanted to retain you. You impressed them, you worked your butt off, and then they wanted to retain you. And then you thought, hey, wait a minute, I can flip this and make myself some money.
Exactly.
That's so dope.
So, so what I'm basically saying is most of us young people see ourselves only as employees, right? But if you think outside the box, that can actually it can actually make and generate extra income for you. Like I'd say right now, because they actually became my first clients, right? And then from there, I actually hired other people, because I noticed something when I was employed. Because if you work at a certain organization, right, for let me say a year, you get to know the advantages and disadvantages, the structure basically of the organization, the type of industry that you're in, right?
Yeah.
So I worked in a school, and that's exactly what I figured out.
I was going to ask based on that, fair enough, being an employer. I mean, I would be amiss to for us to have this conversation and not talk about some of the downsides. Because like I'm assuming basically the thing that you just set up was basically a contractor relationship between you and your previous company, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in that situation, in comparison with being a full-time employee, being a contractor, you also end up not having certain benefits of full-time employment. I know like some people be out here, they'll be asking, okay, fine, how about in terms of things like making sure that I end up getting a pension, or making sure I get maybe medical aid from the business and stuff like that. All these other extras that come with full-time employment that they give you in a contract. As a contractor, you're not given all that. Basically, what ends up happening is that you're on your own. You pay your own taxes. You're your own separate thing. So, which means that you again also now be liable for all these other things that typically an employee doesn't have to worry about.
That is very true, Masuzio. But there's a saying that goes, when you pray for rain, be willing and able to deal with the mud. I think that's the mud that comes with the rain. But the issue is, for me, I think it was all about independency and not having someone dictate my working hours or my schedule for instance.
Yeah. I think that is definitely an amazing thing, because like I mean, even I feel like 100% by the time I'm done here. I mean, I'm just trying to get this degree, and then I'll ship out. I'll work for a little bit, but afterwards, even I think of myself as starting my own business, because at the end of the day, when you're working for one person, you don't have those kinds of freedoms. Because I would really love to have a 3 day a week, three day week, rather than having to work 5 days a week, because I hate coming to work all the time. So I think that's one huge
we all do.
Yeah. It's actually that is actually a facade, Masuzio, because it's not 3 days a week. It's 8 days a week that you're working as an entrepreneur.
That's true, actually. So I guess when something is yours, when it's your baby and you're passionate about it, obviously you're gonna like put in the work and kill yourself for it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So wait. So Thobo, let me ask you a question. On this whole like entrepreneurship journey of yours, what has been like the best moment and like the worst, like your gutter moment, like the pits? Give them to me.
The best moment for me, I'd say, I already alluded to this by saying, is seeing an idea come to life. I think that's the best for me. The worst for me would be thinking about something and not taking action, and then seeing someone else do it very well, or do it the way I thought I'd do it. That really hurts me a lot.
I feel that. So then in your journey, what would you say have been like a few of your mistakes, like the things that you've done that you realize afterwards, oh no, I should have been smarter, I shouldn't have signed the contract, or maybe I should have protected myself, or I should have done things differently? Like, what are some of the mistakes for you that you've encountered?
One would be personnel, the people you bring on board. You know, a lot of people, many of us are just looking for that 9 to 5 just so we can be able to meet our financial needs at the end of the month, but we're not really there for the company or the organization. So personnel for me would be one. And fear, I guess, would be the major one. One thing I used to struggle with before venturing into something was
was fear. I'd overthink a lot of things, like the barriers to entry to this industry, be it your if this particular thing is capital intensive, and then you'd regret once you've started, because you've taken so long worrying about how much this would cost and so on.
I get that. So obviously, like, in the way that you started, obviously you had some kind of, I don't know, obviously things happen, like you said, mistakes happen, you overthink things and whatnot, but you obviously came into this with some expectation and misconception, especially because Wari, you saw your dad like established and he had money coming into him and stuff. So did you think that it would just be like instant, or like what were your expectations coming into this whole entrepreneurship thing?
Coming into this entrepreneurship thing, my expectations were solely based on freedom, Lynn. Regardless of how long it would take me to reach that point, but that was the whole purpose of me venturing into entrepreneurship, because I've seen how depressed and sad some people get about Mondays, and how excited they get about Fridays, you know, and that roller coaster.
Yeah.
That roller coaster just wasn't what I was interested in.
I just wanted to ask, so like we've discussed like what kind of mindset you need to be in terms of entrepreneur. It's something that's it's very draining, but it's also very rewarding. The idea of taking on the concept on its own and being your own person is super important in terms of like gives you a lot of freedom, and especially if you're doing something that you love, it can be very rewarding in terms of like you actually wanted to go to work and being willing to put in that effort because it's something that you really enjoy. So we have talked about things like mindset, but at the end of the day, a lot of people would be like, okay, fine, fair enough. There's something I see that I may want to do. There's something that I see that I would love to be involved in. But as you already alluded to, the number one thing is the barriers to entry. Like the number one thing that people think about is what type of upfront investment do I have to go look? What kind of upfront investment do I need in order to be able to get myself into that industry? So in terms of like taking the risk and taking the plunge, what do you feel is at what point? How do you evaluate the points in time where you have, okay, fine, here maybe the upfront investment is something I can manage, versus something whereby, okay, fine, at this point in time I do not have enough cash capital, or I do not have enough experience in the industry for me to actually go ahead and try it.
How I gauge things, right, is I usually begin very small. So if I'm interested in having a butchery or having a bakery, for instance, right? Instead of me stressing about the risk of having to pay rent for this bakery, having to buy machinery, what I do is I start small by getting your cupcake trays from your or whatever local shop you have, and then getting your raw materials and testing out the market with your close friends or your neighborhood there, right? And then from there, that's when you can gauge the type of risks and benefits that this organization, this potential business might have. It's easier to gauge when you've started small, I guess.
Yeah. I just love that point. I mean, a lot of people get involved in businesses without doing the appropriate market research prior to actually getting involved full in, right? So you definitely need to be able to see what exactly the market's like, what's your demand, where how much, what you should be able to say, project, okay, based on this and this information, I'll be able to probably get this much money, and therefore the upfront core investment will actually be worth my time. So like, do you feel like, especially like in terms of like investment culture and entrepreneurship culture in Southern Africa right now, do you feel like people? I feel personally, I was also of the belief that there are not that many people who go into that. They don't look at those aspects of it first, and it's not within a lot of people don't actually experience that part. Is there a lot of places whereby you could easily be able to get market research data or things like that, things that would be able to help you, or like, because like we know that a lot of the government programs right now are trying to help entrepreneurs and trying to help people actually move forward and build businesses. So are those things readily provided to you as an entrepreneur on the ground? Would you say that there is that support whereby you'll be able to get access to all this information and be able to judge whether or not your business is really worth it?
In this day and age, this information is there on the internet. You can go anywhere to do your market research on anything these day and ages.
But are those sources trustworthy? Like with the internet, Diana, like why? Like especially in places like Botswana, I feel like those statistics Botswana should have these things freely available, to people to do research and stuff like that. I think the problem with a lot of these, especially like African countries, is like process and procedure. You have to go through so much red tape just to get assistance, to get financial help, to talk to the right people. There's this thing of this hierarchy a lot in these structures. So, yeah, that's interesting.
For me, Lynn, I feel that mentality of saying you or needing relying a lot on the government is not the right thing for us, because a lot of young people are, should I say, too lazy to actually step out of the comfort zone, because they are waiting for the government to sponsor them whatever funding to come their way, and not actually making that initiative to start.
I feel you. So let me ask you.
That for me has to change before we can say the government is
the problem. Okay, I feel you on that one. So let me ask you. You guys are talking about like this mentality, this entrepreneurship mentality and everything. I feel like we need to talk about like hustle culture. Like like one of our past episodes, the African Retirement Plan, we're talking about how we put so much pressure on ourselves because we're trying to build up the wealth, we're trying to take care of our families, we're trying to make sure you have the health care, you're trying to make sure the medical aid, everything's coming together. There's so much expectation on us as young people already. So how do you build up a business? How do you take the risk in entrepreneurship when you have all these other things like hanging over you?
I'd like to say this before I go into that. The hustler's mentality and the consumer mentality we have, I think it's not only in Southern Africa, but in Africa as a whole, is that we see ourselves as inferior to the other races. So that for me is a major concern that I'm seeing.
Yeah.
If Thobo is to start a business today, and James from America is to start another next door, people in our neighborhood are more likely to go and buy from James rather than buy and support local. Exactly.
Okay. So I can tell us it's like in a climate like ours where like Africa is built on this thing where it's foreign companies that are coming in, and like you said, we have a habit of trusting them more because we do feel like there's that hierarchy no, we're now inferior to them. So then how do you build up a business? If you wanna like the one that you're describing, no blue about accounting and stuff like that. There's like firms that exist in places like Botswana, huge companies that come in with all these different kinds of services. So how do you like step out? Like how do you even like navigate a climate like that?
The way I did it is because I was immersed in this particular industry. I learned the ins and outs of that industry, right? So venturing out and getting other clients, what I did was I did not target your high-end businesses because these are the businesses that are targeted by your larger organizations. So I was targeting your bar owner who is the one responsible for doing his own bookkeeping, own taxes. I was the one. I was targeting your saloon owner who's the one receipting, who's the one paying, because I noticed that a lot of these SMMEs were not doing things properly, and accounting wise or bookkeeping wise, this created a bad image for them. That is why, for instance, they would complain that we are not getting funding from, but not understanding why they aren't getting that funding.
Okay. I really like that. I really like that you went, you went for people, like people you wouldn't even normally consider. You went for the everyday man, and you've included them and Rubabon Salasedi as well. It's not like, you get what I'm saying? I really, really love that. I really love that. So wait, so earlier you're talking about like obviously not relying on the government, and you're talking about you want to assist like the everyday man, and obviously these are also people who I assume are within like your network of people. So my question is, how do you like building up these businesses and all of work that helps? Are there mentors, Baba like, or are you doing all of this on your own?
That's a very good question. The reason I actually ventured into the small businesses was it's easier for you to shadow someone you see as a mentor if they own an organization that I'd consider a small organization. I'd give you an example by asking you this question: who do you think would be easier to shadow if it was Steve Jobs, who had Apple computers in his garage, versus Steve Jobs who has an Apple Incorporated $500 billion company. Right?
It's definitely the guy in his garage.
So for me, the mentorship issue, I feel following or shadowing other owners or other business owners on the come up is actually a good program and initiative which other people can to grow their business acumen.
Okay.
So also like what I'm hearing is that like you're starting with these businesses high and then you're leaving them there. It sounds like you actually want to grow with them. It sounds like you're trying to build relationships that can go the distance.
Uh-huh. My first client as an accounting firm was actually a small school that did things in a peculiar way. They handled cash. They didn't have proper procedures when they were doing payments. So when I actually engaged them,
yeah.
When I actually engaged and helped them, things started turning up for them. They actually started collecting more from the school fees and this actually made my day. Being able to contribute to something worthwhile.
I can imagine that. Let me ask, right? So we're talking about like investment culture and all of that. I get. So now let me ask you, like, in you like attempted to start these businesses up and everything, is that like your immediate circle of people? Like any like investment, like I don't know, like people you can actually team up with within your circle of people, within the network that you already have. Do you have support from the people around you?
I'd say the support is there, but not as much as one would like it, right? The culture we have here is you find that your friends actually talk behind your back and say, oh, he thinks he's made it in life, he thinks he's got this and that.
Yeah.
Without actually really supporting you and pushing your business.
So that mentality of all the Africans are jealous is a thing. Like Banna Babataho, like sorry, you were saying?
Can you say that?
No, I was saying like it's an actual thing that like this whole African thing, we are very jealous people. It's very hard for us to encourage each other. That is actually something that you have experienced.
Because we've been scrambling for scrums for so long, right? This has actually been ingrained into our mentality and system.
Oh, I really like how you put that. The fact that we've been scrambling for so long. I really like that. The fact that we're going for all the scraps, because like you were saying, we've somewhat been depicted as inferior. So whatever we do get, we fight over it because you want it to be your own thing. So how then do you show your worth to people? How do you get people to buy into the business ideas you have? How do you get people to actually pay you your worth?
If the quality is right, if professionalism is there, there's no doubt that you'd get the right clients paying the amount you need, you're offering.
Yeah, so it's a reputation thing. You need to build it up. The product, the service, it needs to be 100%.
Exactly.
Okay, so when I Thobo, you know what? I keep calling you by the nickname I call. It's fine. Monageng, how do you give out like friends and family discounts? Because this is Africa. You know how we do.
I actually don't.
Wow, savage! Like,
when,
straight to the point.
No, but it's important.
When I have to deal with, 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 when Exactly. When I have to deal with family and friends, right? This is actually one of the rules that I always put in the businesses I start. If you are dealing with someone you know personally, you actually let another member of the business handle the account.
Okay. Okay, I understand. I feel you on that one. Actually, I get
so
that.
If my mom was to come, she won't be dealing with me. She'd be dealing with one of the guys there.
Okay, I feel you on that one. So how do you deal with the doubts? Like, obviously you could doubt yourself, but then people like you're saying, sometimes your immediate circle doesn't really support you. How do you surpass that? That whole mindset, how do you get over it? Kana, you just grit your teeth and you push through it.
I just grit my teeth and push through it, Lynn. As long as I have the push and the why I'm doing this, everything else is on the peripheral.
Okay, I feel you on that one. Okay, so sorry, we're getting to the point where we're wrapping up the show, but I wanted to ask you, why do we have this mentality, we look down on people who work the 9 to 5 life, not everybody can be a boss. Not everybody even wants to be a boss. Not everybody wants to own their own thing. So why that mentality we look down on people who work that 9 to 5?
I don't feel that is really the case, because you find that the people you are referring to are actually the people working the 9 to 5.
So what do you mean? So it's the 9 to 5 people who look down on the entrepreneurs?
Hey.
Oh.
Is the 9 to 5? Hey. I don't know if you're getting me.
Yeah, I think I got it. Sorry, I think I got a little confused there.
Really?
Okay, I feel you. So but guys, we can't all be competing and judging each other for the lanes we're choosing. So how do can we even encourage each other and stay in our lanes at the same time?
This, I feel, is a decision one has to take. There are certain people who are comfortable with living life as a middle class, having a 9 to 5, having to go home to a wife who has a wife and 3 kids, and that shouldn't be a problem. I guess we're not built the same.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone chooses their paths in life.
I feel you on that. Yeah, we're all brought to different scenarios through different circumstances. Like you said, when I was part of the fact that the way you were brought up in the home you grew up in, it's so many different influences that we go through. It's really, really dope to actually see this is something you wanted since way when you were a kid, and it's something you've actually come to actualize. I actually take my hat off to you, because you have committed to this entrepreneurship life, and I didn't realize this. I say, me and Thobo are old friends, but I didn't know this is a whole lifestyle mentality, work for it. I did not realize this. I thought you were a side hustle person. I didn't know you were about that life?
The time is going in. The clock of life is ticking, and it doesn't stop.
I feel you on that one. So wait, so like I said, we're trying to wrap this up. So what are the things that every young startup entrepreneur should know, like according to you?
Can you say that again?
Like, what are the things that every startup like entrepreneur should know? Like, how similar this whole like entrepreneur business journey? Like, what to you? What are the key things that they should know?
One is they need to know that a lot of work is put into this. This means that you're going to have your sleepless nights. You're going to have days where you have a negative 30 pula or 30 rand in your bank account, and it's month end, and your employees are looking at you to find ways to pay them, you know.
Yeah.
They should be ready to deal with such circumstances, you know. But yet again, they shall reap if they commit to this thing. They will reap the benefits of having to decide whether you want to go to work or not, and having financial security, I guess, at the end of it all.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Now that you have started up your business and all of that, how do you judge your business's growth? For you, like, what were the things that you saw where you felt like, okay, I'm growing, like this is going somewhere?
I actually do not judge it by monetary terms, right? I actually judge my growth or the growth of the business in the impact it's actually made on the clients we have.
I love that.
Seeing an organization which didn't have anything, and helping it to a point where banks can look at their statements and actually consider them, is actually one thing I feel has or determines the growth of these businesses.
I feel you on that one. Wow. Okay. Monsieur, do you have any questions or anything to say before I ask Thobo this like one last question? What's your thought at this point?
Actually, you know what? I mean, what he brings up is actually very important in terms of like, especially as a business and starting a business, your ability to gain capital is super important. And I think we should actually definitely have, like, maybe we might actually have to bring you on one more time to talk about just generally what people need to do in terms of like accounting and stuff like that, in order to make sure they're able to be able to be able to actually keep the books in order and things like that. Like some aspects of it, I'm like, okay, if you really want to be evaluated by business and being able to get a loan and things like that, these are very important things for a business of any kind to be able to do. And just being savvy and knowing about how exactly to prepare your books and making your books good and things like that, because that's super important for any person who's trying to start a business. But either way, with regards to just entrepreneurship in general, I would just like I think for me, it's super important that as Southern Africans, we get to a point whereby we're out here supporting your local businesses and being able to, if you're not starting a business, make sure that maybe you're investing in a business, because I think a lot of people think that, okay, fine, maybe I'm not an entrepreneur, but you can also be someone who invests in someone and gives them that extra capital in order for them to be able to start in the market. And it's super important that when your family member comes to you like, oh man, I'm looking to start this business. I mean, if it has good, it's a good idea and there's an addressable market, then definitely it's something. Even if you're a 9-to-5 person, it's super important for you to try and also put investments in other different places. And as we always say, I mean, at the end of the day, being a 9-to-5, it just doesn't pay the bills these days for everyone. You have to diversify your portfolio, even if it's not being an entrepreneur. Diversify your portfolio in any way you can, and try and make sure that you are investing not only in yourself, but investing in Southern Africa as a whole. But otherwise, that's about it.
Okay, so Thobo, like for you, like I want to know, like what's next for you? Like if people are looking for these services from you, like what's next? Like, how do people reach you if they need these services? You know, like parting words, I guess.
Okay. If you guys need any of our accounting services, you can forward your request to that is tmtex.bookkeeping@gmail.com.
Could you come again with that one more time?
Can you just repeat that?
And, that's tmtex.bookkeeping.
Okay.
How do you spell the text? Is that TAX?
Yes, TAX.
Okay. So guys, we're gonna pass on their contacts. We're gonna put him in contact. We're gonna push him. We'll have a whole bio on him to explain exactly who he is, what he does. But guys, like now he's like this, like businessman and everything. But to me, he'll always be, you know, that scrawny kid that I used to play with in primary school. Oh my goodness, Thobo, I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful that you came on and you talk and you hung out with us and you gave us a bit of light into what you do and exactly what it takes to be an entrepreneur in Southern Africa and in Botswana, you know? So I think the message comes across quite clear, guys. It's the hustle, it's the grind, it's the come up. I think Thobo probably gave like the best quote for this entire episode. He said, you know, when you pray for rain, you need to be willing to deal with the mud. So there's glory, but there's guts. So you get through it, you reap what you sow, you know. Ultimately, like, we're living in a generation where you're constantly being told, see the bag, get the bag, secure the bag. You know, that's the mentality you need to have. Whether you're working your 9-to-5, whether you're in that hustler, you know, beast mode, you know, it's big ups to you. It's keep doing what you need to do. There's definitely so much more we could have talked about, guys. So much more. And I think we're actually going to have Thobo come back. I will twist his arm and get him to come back and give us more like financial smarts and how to deal with businesses, how to handle money. I'm actually looking forward to that, but we'll plan an episode for that. Guys, thank you so much. If you've reached the end of this episode, thank you so very much for sticking through with us. Thank you so much to Thobo for coming on and being our guest today. I am so grateful. If you're looking to contact us, if you're looking to reach out to us, looking to partner, collaborate with us, guys, you can find us on Gmail. It's bantuborn@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter. It's BBWR_. We're on Facebook now. We officially have a Facebook page that's up and running. Bantu Born Western Raised. Find us. We're trying to interact as much as possible with people and trying to collaborate. You can find us on Instagram as well. Follow us, share us, subscribe. subscribe, tell your friends about us. Let's push the Southern African culture awareness. It's current affairs. Today we talked about the hustle, its history, its heritage. Thank you guys so much for chilling and hanging out with us. This is Bantu born, Western raised, and we are signing out.